Hi, everyone in Beautyland. Welcome to the first ever episode of Supreme Salon. My name is Stefanie. I'm here with my co-host, Jay. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here tonight and excited to kick this off. It's the holiday season.
It is.
And
I like your shirt.
Thank you very much.
Very festive.
I think it's important to get a good view of this shirt because it has meant so much to me over the past couple of months. It's the only thing that I've been obsessed with other than my children and my wife. And
Perfect.
Jeffrey Epstein. So, yeah. So pumped to get this going and really excited to start this with you because it's going to be cool. It's going to be different and it's going to be groundbreaking as far as the beauty industry is concerned, I believe.
We have a pretty awesome first episode lined up too. I'm pretty excited. Mm-hmm. We've got the real beauty bosses coming on a little later.
Mm-hmm. And I just had a crab cake that literally made me want to jump up and shout.
Delightful.
Absolutely incredible.
Yes, we have Chef Celine here. We are spoiled.
We just got started. We're already spoiled. Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
So good things are coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what and how did we all end up here? Like how did this happen?
You know, I just got a message from the producer, Benjamin, on my Instagram a few months ago. We've been kind of throwing ideas back and forth, meeting with different people. We were on this search for a co-host. And we wanted male, maybe a barber, someone a little edgy. We wanted a cool dude. And I kept thinking about you, and I was like, he's going to ignore my Instagram message. Like, he ain't got time for this. And I did. Did you?
I did. Well, I did. But to be fair, I ignore I ignore all Instagram messages for a period of time. Actually, all messages in general.
Okay.
You know what?
Nobody
let me show you something really quick.
Message Jay. He will ignore you.
Do you see my text right there?
159 texts.
159. The emails at the bottom?
See, that gives me anxiety. I have to always have mine at 0.
I know. It's so overwhelming. You can't, if you keep up with it, it
takes your day.
It takes your day. And you're missing out on life. As far as I feel. So I just let those babies stack up.
Well, I'm glad that you decided to respond.
Yeah. Well, so you reached out a second time.
Yeah.
And then Ben actually reached out too. And then I was like, okay, like let's look into this. And I loved the idea. I loved the idea of a video podcast. I loved the idea that it was in Arizona, representing Arizona.
Absolutely.
I love the idea that it would be, you know, I'm constantly looking for things to give back to the industry as much as I possibly can, because I feel like this industry, the beauty industry in general, has been so welcoming to somebody like me, like somebody that has been, I would have considered myself ultimately lost up until I found hairdressing. Yeah. And you could probably identify with that.
Absolutely.
And then finally, like, it's like, okay, like I found a home, I found a direction. And within the beauty industry, it's like so vast and so open, and you're able to go so many different directions, ending up ultimately in a podcast, a video podcast with a friend. And, you know, just wanting to spread the word and wanting to get everything out there that I possibly can, because this industry has given and continues to give so much to me. Like, all I want to do is spread the word and connect people and you know, be a part of something that is keeping that community together that has been so welcoming to this weirdo.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know it was important to you, like, you're working on getting Arizona on the map. There's a lot of talent here now, necessarily, like, very necessarily. Now people are starting to notice that, and people are making moves, and we're getting a little more, you know, attention, I guess, as far as education goes. And you're from here, right? Born and raised?
Born and raised in Arizona. Yeah. And like, you know, kind of to piggyback off of what I was saying earlier is I couldn't find my way. Anything that I did, I worked pretty hard. And I tried to do my best. But I just wasn't finding a home in what I was doing. I went to community college for about as long as a surgeon would go to school.
Gotcha.
And I majored in everything all the way up to recreation. So you can major in recreation, and that's what I did for. and in my mind somehow, and my dad was telling me, like, well, you could like write out like activity plans for people on like cruises and shit like that. And I was like, yeah, I guess I could do that. The whole time I was I was cutting hair out of my garage and out of my father's lower level bathroom in our house, and we called it the salon. But for some reason, it never registered that I could make a living. It never registered that would be okay. You know, I kind of came from an old school family, and my dad was a coach, so it was all about athletics. And then, you know, back then, it was just like you go to college, and then you get a real job. You know what I mean? So it took me. It was very hard for me to break out of that mold, even though that's what I was doing every day after school, majoring in recreation, was going home and even all the way back to high school, I was cutting, you know, everybody on the basketball team and football team's hair. Like, that's kind of where I got my start. And then moving into like the girls in the neighborhood, I wanted to like color their hair.
Yeah.
The crazy part was at the time, there's no social media. There's no, like, you can't find anything to like grow your craft, or you're basically making shit up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, I was locking down all the neighborhood girls, and literally I made a way to foil hair. And like what I would do was basically, we're talking about the 90s.
Yeah.
Chunky, obviously.
Of course.
Highlights. So I would grab a chunk of hair, and I would wrap it up in a foil. I'd put lightener on it and wrap it up in a foil. It looked like there was like several Olive Garden breadsticks like wrapped up in foil coming off the head, and then I would you know, lift the color out, and then I would put the color back in, and then I would have like finger sized chunks of hair coming down. And I thought I was the shit.
I thought I was too. Yeah, I did that on my own self, and I was like, knocked it out of the park. You got it. I look like Ginger Spice. That was the goal.
It was crazy though, because it wasn't until I was like in my early 20s that like I remember a guy came in. I was working in a clothing store, and a guy came in. And I thought he was like the coolest guy. He's spending a bunch of money. He looked like Lenny Kravitz. My first man crush, I would say, probably. And I was like, man, like what band do you sing for? Like, what do you do? And here I am, like, lost. I'm in my early 20s, and I'm doing hair but not doing hair. And he was like, I'm a hairdresser, and he worked at Saatchi at the time. His name was Anderson, and I ran in the back and grabbed my Trapper Keeper of pictures that I was taking of my chunks that I was doing, and I showed him, and he did his best to not laugh. And he was like, dude, you should come in and like see like how I do things. You might be a hairdresser. Yeah. And I went in the next day and watched him do hair, and I was like, this is it. Like, it's done. Like, I'm going to be a hairdresser. And that day I went and registered for hair school. And like somehow I think even like back then, we're talking about like maybe 25 years ago. Yeah. In the neighborhood that I grew up in, it was like if you thought about being a hairdresser as a male, like you were gay. That was it. So like, and you know, trying to be a macho athlete at the time, and like really like, you know, keep to the way that like my old school family was going. I was like, that's what I had to do. So, being a hairdresser was kind of out of the question, even though I was doing hair all damn day. Right. You know what I mean? So he broke me free of that mold. It was funny because the first thing that I said, and like, we're talking about 25 years ago, the first thing I said to him when he said, I'm a hairdresser, I said, you're not gay. And he was like, I was unaware you had to be. And it triggered something in me, and I started moving in that direction. The funniest part about this story is, when I got done with hair school, I reached out to him, Anderson. I called him. I was like, dude, like, I'm done with hair school. Like, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you did for me that day when you came in. You know, you showed me that I can do whatever I want, and like I can be welcomed into this community and do my thing and make a living. He was like, I'm so proud of you. Like, that's awesome. He was like, I have a funny secret to tell you though. And I was like, what? And he goes, I'm gay. And I was like, no. And he's like, dude, I knew that day, like at your age, like trying to be a man and everything, that you might not have became a hairdresser that fast. He's like, I knew you were going to become a hairdresser, but it might not have been that day.
Didn't want to delay you.
Yeah. So crazy the way that it all worked out.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, where's Anderson now?
The last time I heard, he moved to Vegas and was doing his thing out there. And then we haven't had, again, this is all before social media.
Bring
so
him on the show.
I'm going to have to find him. I'm going to track down Anderson.
Track him down.
Amazing man, beautiful man. And I really have him to thank for sending me in this direction, because it's ended up so great. And like I said, I really was kind of a lost soul.
Yeah.
You have to be a lost soul if you make it all the way to majoring in recreation at a junior college.
Yes. That's amazing.
Wow. So, and you tell me, so let's go through this. I mean, you're not from Arizona. However, you ended up here. So how did this happen?
Yeah. I've been here for about 6 years. I went to beauty school in Los Angeles, so I was doing hair there prior. I came here for a relationship that didn't work out. Mm-hmm. But I ended up staying here because at the time when I had a decision to make about moving back to LA or staying, I was taking over the salon that I worked at. So I was like, well, no one in LA is handing me a salon, so I might as well stay here and just do this. But yeah, I'd been doing hair. I've been doing hair now for 10 years. I've been in the industry 17. I was always a receptionist. I'm still a receptionist. It's my favorite job. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. So I now own my own salon. I'm still the receptionist. And I'm still behind the chair as well. So,
right.
Yeah.
And you do beautiful hair.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, I gotta give you props for. It seems from talking to you and like getting to know you a little bit, any situation that you go into, you seem to take over, and
I am boss,
and that's pretty rad. So yeah,
and you do great hair too.
Thank you.
Do you know you're good?
I think honestly, like, I know that I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
However, I'm constantly surrounding myself with people that I consider better.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that really is my driver, is like, okay, like I've been doing this 20 damn years. My goal was always to try and make sure that when I'm doing a woman's hair, that her daughter also wants me to do her hair. I didn't want to be known as the beautician. You know what I mean? Like as the daughters are getting a little bit older, they're like, oh yeah, he can do your hair, mom.
Right.
You know, but he's not touching my hair.
Yeah, I totally get it.
And somehow that was like a weird little goal of mine. I wanted to be cool with the younger generation too. Right. Even though I think I was labeled a boomer earlier.
That happened.
But that's okay.
It's okay. You're not a boomer.
But yeah, so it's all about progress for me, and like selfishly, I surround myself with the people in the shop that I consider so good and so progressive, and I like, no shit, I copy them. And they push me because I'm not the smartest one in the room, and people at my shop like Ben Coe and Mallory and Jamie Wiley, and like they're so immensely talented that I have to keep up, or try do my best to keep up, or I'm going to be dead in the water and be labeled as the beautician.
Right. When you're doing a haircut, are you like, I hope Ben Coe isn't looking at me right now?
Dude, I turn my back.
I don't ever want to do a haircut.
I turn my back to him. I don't know that Ben's ever seen me actually do. We sit right next to each other. I don't know that he's ever
look at me.
Yeah, I turn the chair over so like all he can see is my back. So, and I've seen him like kind of studying what I'm doing at times, and I'm like, oh, this is awful. Like it's so sweaty. Yeah,
so sweaty. Doing hair in general is so sweaty.
No, I have a funny story about that, but yeah, it's nerve wracking. I mean, you're servicing somebody, and you're really in control of like how their day is gonna go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do you still get nervous?
Not really. Like, I set myself up to not get nervous because I always make sure that I'm doing, like, through consultation and everything, I make sure that I'm working on somebody that understands what I'm good at and they're going to get what I'm good at. And,
Right.
and, you know, if you set yourself up from the beginning and make sure that you're not overextending yourself, whether it's like a color correction or whatever the case may be, like,
Right.
then you really, it puts you at ease. Make sure you have enough time. All that stuff kind of comes in to, you know, creating a situation where you're not nervous, you know,
Right.
and I'm fortunate now at this point that I understand myself and what I'm able to do, and I don't really go above that unless, like, I'll get texts sometimes with people to book, and I will have had maybe like a couple glasses of wine,
Yeah.
and I'm like let's do it. Hell yeah, let's do it. So that's the only time that I put myself in a weird predicament, but not so much nervous anymore. Do you still get nervous?
Yes. But I also have this thing, and I don't know what it is. I think any job that I ended up doing, I would have it where I'm like, I always think I'm a fraud. Mm-hmm. Like, even though I have this education and I've done however many heads of hair, thousands probably at this point, I'm like, I'm not really good. I'm faking it. And I don't know if it's because I'm like self-taught pretty much.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, still, that's what my head tells me.
Right.
I know it's not real, but that happens all the time. And then, you know, I was at a point in LA where I was past the phase where I ever saw a name on my books that I didn't know because I couldn't take new clients. So I always knew what I was walking into.
Right.
And then moving and starting over and having no clients, like, you go back to 8 years ago when you never knew any of your clients, and like, I just forgot how anxiety producing that is, because it's like, do they have 4 hairs? Do they have hair down to their belt loops? Do they have 19 ponytails? Like,
are they certifiably insane?
Right.
Yeah.
And what is about to happen? And like, they book online willy-nilly. They did all over color. Is it really going to be like a whole color correction? And
Come
they
on.
don't know, like, stuff
you know
like
it's
that?
never an all over color.
You know?
Yeah. They're like, well, you're
So-
coloring my hairs. So
Right.
that's why I chose all over
So
color.
I still now, when I see a name on my books that I don't know, I'm just like,
So people, in your situation, people can get online and book an
they
appointment
can
with
book
you.
willy-nilly, whatever they want. Yes. So
Dude, it's
crazy.
That's impressive. I have to say that's impressive. I have to have like a 6-hour consultation and
don't
like full,
sleep at
like,
night, Jay.
I need to run your credit. I need to figure out, like, I have a lot of really personal questions before we get started, like lie detector test.
Right.
Like,
yeah, there's just unfortunately no way with our booking software, because what I wanted to do was make it to where no first-time client can book with me online. So I'm only doing my people, and then my girls are getting, because I don't want to take clients when my girls aren't, you know?
Yeah.
I don't do that. So there's just no way to do that with our software.
your salon
I'll
is
give 'em a
beautiful,
call.
by the way.
Thank you. You got to
Yeah.
come in.
Yeah. I'm going to come in for one of those pedicures.
You should.
Yeah. So
Our pedicure sinks are accidental bathtubs because I ordered them online. And then when they came to my house, I was like, calling the contractor, like, we got to resize this area. These things are tubs.
I'll sit in there like a
I can
bathtub.
sit in it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I did when I opened it. I was like, I can get in
I'll sit
here.
in it with my legs out and my arms out.
That's what I want to do when it's freezing in there. Do you mind if I crawl into your pedicure?
That's awesome that you have so many different services at your shop, and I think that, like, you have a reputation as being like on the spiritual side and
Right.
like up for that, and you've implemented that in your
I did.
in your salon.
Yeah. So we have nail services, spa services, and then we have Reiki energy healing, and we do spiritual counseling as well. And that's just something, man, when I opened the salon, I was going to scratch everything and just do hair and nails and call it a day. Because my last situation, we had spa, we had everything. And then I woke up one morning and heard the voice of God and like was just like, you got to open a wellness center. And so instead of simplifying, I went crazy. And so it's a blessing and a curse, because like I get to do everything I'm interested in, but at the same time, I'm like, we do so many things.
Yeah.
And like, do I already need another hair station because my chairs are full? And like, but no one's getting a facial ever. Like,
Right.
what do I do? You know? So
Well, it kind of
I don't know.
evolves.
It's
You've been
awesome
open
and
for
it's
how long?
Crazy. We kind of opened in August, but not really. So we were like up and running finally September.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's only been a few months.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's awesome that you offer that.
Yeah.
I do think that there's so much that people don't understand on the like, whether you get it or whether you don't, like the spiritual side and like the Reiki and like appreciating something like that and experiencing something like that. It does all kind of go together.
Have you ever done it?
I haven't. And I think right now I'm getting an idea as for a maybe a segment where I could enjoy Reiki.
Yeah, come on in. We'll put some crystals on you. Sage you.
Dude, okay, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
How does that work? Am I gonna what happens?
It's hard to explain. Basically, you're laying in a treatment room, like similar to a massage.
Am I naked?
No.
Okay.
You're not naked. Reiki can be hands-on or hands-off.
Mm-hmm.
So if people don't like to be touched, you can still do it without touching them. But I like to do chakra balancing when I do Reiki at the same time, just because it sort of guides me as to what I'm working on, I guess.
So you do this?
I do this, yes. So I actually use a pendulum and I talk to your chakras. This is going to get real weird, okay? Talk to your chakras and I ask them if they're balanced and they tell me yes or no with the pendulum.
Okay.
And then if they say they're not balanced, I ask them if they are overactive or underactive. Mm-hmm. And I thought I made this method up. I was real happy for myself.
Right.
And then I started talking to an instructor at Sweeha, and she was like, yeah, that's what I do. And I was like, okay.
Huh. Okay. But that's good though. But I mean, that's
my brain knows.
That goes back to the fraud part.
Yeah.
Is I mean, I think so much of what we do is like there's an instinctual side,
right?
And through your instinctual side, you're working, you're doing things that you don't necessarily have like words or direction for, but like just what feels right. And you're not the only one that feels like that, Right. So it makes sense that it would be like that. And like on the instinct side, it's like I feel like, and I actually, so I was reading, there's a book called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, and he says that your instinct, you have to listen to it, because instinct is a collection of every experience that you've ever had in your entire life coming forth when you need to make a decision before you are able to like explain what the hell is going on. Yeah.
I feel like people think I live real wild, like make erratic choices, but I'm just following
instinct.
Yes, intuition, I think. So tell me about how you got into education.
So I got into education, probably I'm thinking like 2004, 2005. I had become a booth renter, and I was working at a very tiny salon, and I wanted something more. I wanted to be a part of something. I also wanted to continue like elevating my craft and getting better. So I reached out to a number of companies that thought that I thought that I might educate for, and I think like TG was in there, Goldwell was in there, and here I am like dealing with I became an ambassador for TG. And nothing against them. It just at the time they were going through a lot of different things, releasing their color line and kind of figuring that out.
Right.
It didn't work out. Goldwell doesn't even have any necessarily in the United States.
Now that I think about it, I can't
at the
say
time
I've heard of
too.
this.
Yeah. And around the same time, I got approached by a woman that came into my salon and said, "Hey, we're having auditions for a L'Oreal educator in Arizona," and she's like, would you do it? And it was actually set up as like a competition thing. And she's like, you have to compete for this spot. These are the other names that are doing it. And I was like, and I got like fired up about it because I got competitive.
Yeah.
And I didn't know necessarily that I wanted to be an educator at the time. I just wanted to be part of something.
Yeah.
And as a young dude, I had a lot of bravado, but I didn't I was like basically scared inside.
Right.
And so I'm trying to like steal techniques and get all these things to like do better hair, but kind of keep it all to myself.
Yeah.
So it was interesting because, I'd go out there and I'd get these techniques and so that was my in. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try out for this spot with L'Oreal. They were like what I considered the top of the top as far as like educators and,
Right.
and ballers and at the time. And so I tried out, I got it, but I never wanted to educate. So my goal was to like get into these like foundation meetings and all, like be around their like national team, and I was going to steal their techniques and bring them back. So it was really kind of a spy mission.
Right.
But I remember like they're asking me to do some education local in Arizona, and I was like, no, all the way down the line, being a complete asshole.
Right.
And I ended up at a foundations meeting. They called it Foundation, where all of them got together. And I remember seeing their national team, and I was in awe as to like how talented and
Right.
awesome they were. We were having lunch one day, and I walked by, and like one of the national members was like, "Hey, like, do you want to sit over here?" And I sat down, and Joe DiMaggio, actually, who's a huge with Davaness right now, and he was the one that asked me to come over. I had never met him.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, hang out. So I sat down, and I was like, this is my chance. Like, I get to, like, I'm in, you know? So I started asking them questions, and like, they were giving me everything. They were letting me in on everything that they do. And I was like, what the are they doing? Like,
Right.
they're selling themselves out, and like, they're giving it all to me. And I was loving it. Somehow throughout that, like, lunch, it changed how I felt, as far as like I saw if they were so open to give me everything, and they're at this level, at the top of every level that I would consider in the hairdressing industry, like maybe I should do that too. Like maybe I should be open with what I'm doing, because like these are the ballers of the company one, and what I considered like the world.
Yeah.
And they're just so open with it. And at that point, like I changed as far as like what I wanted to do and give back. And like, even, you know, still unsure of like how my teaching style and what I was going to do, I still wanted to start giving myself back, because I saw how open and honest and cool and giving this national team was. And that's when I realized I wanted to be an educator.
Right.
That was a really long answer.
Yeah. It's okay though. We got the backstory.
Right.
And you're now independent or still with L'Oreal?
No. No longer with L'Oreal. That was L'Oreal and I parted ways. Let's see, maybe 2012.
Okay.
And at that point, I was independently starting to educate, and I linked up with actually Confessions of a Hairstylist, Jenny.
Yeah.
And we started doing a braids and balayage scenario.
Right.
And I don't think anybody knew like what was going to happen at the time with social media and how much it was going to explode. And you know, she was such a hustler. I was just letting her do her thing, and I was like focusing on the color and getting better and better, and like, you know, putting together our curriculum and everything. Through that, I was contacted by David Thurston, who was starting Butterfly Circus at the time, and that was all independent educators based upon Instagram, and then through that, he selected people to be the creators of Pulp Riot, and that's where I'm at today. Is
cool.
One of the founding members of Pulp Riot.
That's awesome.
It has been awesome.
Yeah, I've been using a little of it lately since we started being homies. I was like, see what this is about.
You gotta sample it, man. You gotta sample it. It's good stuff, and it's I believe it's still the fastest growing color line in the world right now, and
wow,
and they and we are doing huge things. It's very cool. It's fun. It's amazing to be a part of something like that, and to be with that community. So it's been a ton of fun. And like I said earlier, I was majoring in recreation.
Yeah.
so things have gotten
started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so education wise, I know you said you were kind of basing it around the fake it till you make it thing, as far as like but I know you're lying your ass off, because everybody that I talk to always says the same thing. Like you educate and you get education, and you're after that constantly. So I know even from like Sally Rogerson and everybody that I've talked to has said the same thing, that you are hungry for education, you get the education, and you give back. So what brought you into that realm of things?
I actually did lie my ass off and fake it. I was an artistic educator for Davines for a few years, and that started in LA. Same thing. You had to it wasn't really audition. It was auditions. It's called Train the Trainer. It's very intense.
Yeah.
People were having meltdowns. People were weeping. So intense. But you had to have been using their color line for, I think it was at least a year. And I was like, yeah, got it. Been using it for so long. I had been using it for 3 seconds.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
So I just studied the dossier and knew it all and went in and was like, bam, bam, bam. And then I started teaching for them. Moved here, started teaching here. They only had one educator here when I moved here. Her name's Michelle McGuire. She is phenomenal. She was teaching some classes, so I went and just kind of sat in, see what was up in Arizona. She was so good. She made me want to never teach a class again because I was like, nope, you teach them all. You're so good. Just so good with people, too. But then she stepped down, and I was like, I got to carry this ship.
Yeah. And then it was all on you.
And then it was all on me for 2 seconds. And then I took over the salon that I was at, and I became the director of that salon. And I was like, I can't teach a class. I don't have time for this. So I had to then tell them that and then replace myself. So I was like, the following people are going to come in and teach for you. So we had to host a Train the Trainer at my salon, and I threw my girls in. They hated me. They were so mad. They didn't even want to use Davines. I made them. They were using something else. I won't name it. But I was like, you're going to do this. And then I told them, if you want to be an educator, I'll get you there, but you got to use this color line because it's my only in. That's all I got.
Yeah.
So that, spiked their interest a little more. And so one of them is still up and running, the main educator here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So she's taken off. And then a couple more, have been here, San Diego, back to here, teaching the whole time. So I just handed off the torch. And then I started teaching more business building education, which I like to teach a lot more. I like to teach people that stuff. I just sort of got burnt out because I feel like nobody cares.
Right.
They beg you for help. And I didn't do an online class. I don't know how to do that. So I just did in-person stuff.
Right.
And it's just man, they get so excited. Their eyes light up. They're like, I had no idea any of this. And then they go back to work and never do any of it.
Use it. Yeah.
And so following up with them and stuff, I'm just like, do you know how much money you could have right now?
Right.
Do you understand? You don't have a retirement fund. Let's get going with these ideas.
Right.
No one wants to do it. So I kind of burnt out on that pretty fast. I will do it still. I like to guest, jump in and someone else is already teaching something. I'll come in and do business building portion of it. Dust off the old, workbooks and
the old manila folders,
update them and hand them out. But one of our guests that's coming on, the Real Beauty Bosses, they do the same thing. They're business building education. And so when I met them, I sort of was like, I'm not even going to do I'm just going to have them now. Right. So I'm an actual client of theirs. Okay. Which is why it's cool that they're on today. But I was like, I'm not going to teach this. I'm not going to kill myself staying current. I'm just going to learn from them and follow what they're doing, and they'll stay current and I'll tag on, and then I'll just open a salon and focus on that. I need to focus on one thing.
I think that I'm in getting to know you, I think I'm picking up on not the problem, but what you deal with inside. Yes. is you relinquishing some of the control. Right. And yeah, I mean, that's what finding somebody that you trust and to handle that. Right. Especially when you're dealing with a salon, because unless your salon is one chair and one front desk, you're going to have to let go a little bit. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Have you read The E-Myth, that book? I haven't. Why Small Businesses Fail. No. But, should I? Yeah, you should.
But it talks about how when you open a business, you're the entrepreneur, but you can't let go of being the technician and the manager because that's how you got there. And like relinquishing that. And it's never going to work if you don't.
It's terrifying.
I can't.
Well, I'm gonna have to get into that. Yeah. Well, but speaking of the Real Beauty Bosses, they're in here tonight.
They're here.
And we get to hang out with them. And selfishly, I'm super pumped because I, as a salon owner, I'm the artist.
Right.
And outside of that, everything else gets really hazy and really blurry. And I mean, that my wife comes in at that point and like slaps me in the face and like handles numbers and stuff.
Right.
But that's what's so cool about Real Beauty Bosses is the fact that they can come in and really take over that side of things and guide you into a direction which is key to success.
Right, absolutely. You always have to have someone kind of doing the things for you, like whether you want to hand off your social media to someone or whether you want to hand off, like, I'm a psycho. I did my own quarterly taxes. Like, I'm crazy.
You are crazy.
But I've handed off certain things to them. I have someone that helps me with social media. She doesn't fully do everything, but I'm starting to realize the importance of that. Like, hire an expert.
Yeah.
I got a lawyer to read over my lease before I signed it.
You're growing.
I'm doing things.
You're doing big things.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to having Real Beauty Bosses soon. And we're going to have a good rest of this evening.
Yes, we are. I'm super excited.
All right.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Jordan and Katie here, and we are the Real Beauty Bosses. We help salon, spa, and beauty professionals get an extra 5 to 10 clients a week and double their business and make a 6- and 7-figure income in the industry. So, Katie, tell them a little bit why we're here.
We first started our business fresh out of college. We were full-time students working part-time jobs, looking to do more in this world than go and just grab a 9-to-5. Our first client ever, who we helped actually make $4,500 in 3 days, happened to be a microblading specialist. And we absolutely fell in love with the process of helping her grow and expand her business, that we dove straight into it with the rest of the beauty industry, and we have not looked back since. Since then, we have developed a community of over 4,000 people, and we've helped over 500 beauty pros take it to the next level. We're excited for that to hopefully be you too.
Welcome back to Supreme Salon. I am super excited about our next guests. We have Jordan and Katie here from the Real Beauty Bosses. Hi guys, how are you?
What's up, everybody? What's going on? We're doing good. How are you?
We're good. Having a great first episode so far. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you.
Nice to hear from you guys. It's nice to be here on the Grand Supreme Salon launch.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves and how you became the Real Beauty Bosses?
It's a very good question. I'll go ahead and start. Katie was looking at me for there.
Take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So in short, our story, we basically quickly, we went to college, hoped to get, some resources, some education, some information on how to figure out how to live our life, how to make some money, how to figure out what we're going to do for our career.
Right.
And we quickly realized that what we were doing was not really going to get us to where we wanted to be, which was to be able to support ourselves, our family, and our future. And, we kind of got lost in our ways, working a lot of different jobs through our way in college, getting collaboratively $60,000 worth of debt, collaboratively going to college to learn how to better ourselves for the future. And we really just paid a bunch of money and got ourselves in a shit situation to do it.
Right.
And got into debt trying to learn how to make money.
And got into...
Happens all the time.
Yeah,
exactly.
100%. And, got into a rough situation personally, and our real why and our real reason on why we work so hard is because when I was going to college, I got really lost, I got really confused, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing with my life. And I know Jay was talking about this earlier, like it's easy to get like lost, confused, and not know what the heck you're doing.
He majored in recreation.
Yeah, it happens, right? And that was me. I changed my major a couple times. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. You know? And during that time, I was working my ass off trying to stay afloat. I felt like for a while I was just treading water with, bricks on my ankles, just getting pulled down with everything happening. And I went through a really bad situation where I was around the wrong group of friends, around, the wrong people at the wrong time, getting into some trouble, which maybe you can relate to,
Yep.
And got to the point where I was really struggling, and I asked for some help from my family who raised me, which is actually my grandparents. Have a weird past family history, but my grandparents basically raised me, and at this time that I was struggling in my life, I asked them for help, and were going through some rough times medically, financially, mentally, physically, a lot of different things happening in their life at the time that they told me that they couldn't help me, and I was basically pinned against the wall. Had no idea what I was going to do to better myself or help myself. I was literally struggling in debt, struggling financially, struggling mentally, and had no help. So I got pinned against the wall, and basically made it a goal for myself to, get out of this situation, help myself, help my family, and help move forward in my life. And around that time was when I basically said, hey, I am going to look a little bit outside this whole college thing and figure out a way that I can make some more money. Because that's the first step, when you're really struggling. It's usually a financial issue. And a lot of people shy away from that. They think it's like all these other different things. But usually if you get your money right, fix a lot of problems in your life, right?
Absolutely.
And no one wants to talk about that. And they think it's like greedy to want more money. But money can solve a lot of problems.
It's true.
Right? And so, around this time I was really struggling. My family was struggling. I had no help from them. So I was like, shit, what the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I got to get my shit together. That's basically what I said. And so around that time is when I basically figured out hey, I'm going to go, learn from people who are successful. I'm going to go figure out what people who are making money are doing.
Right.
And I'm just going to follow the path that they have laid out that's success, right? And so basically what started our whole journey was basically learning from people who were successful and who were achieving, the financial, freedom, income, success that we wanted to achieve, and basically just, following what they were doing and putting it inside of ourselves. So we went to a lot of, seminars, podcasts, absorbed ourselves with that type of information and just kind of went all in and said, hey, I'm sick of being broke. I'm going to do something about it. And we started a little business at the time, learning from people who were doing, stuff who are our age, making money. And that first, venture we went into, we learned a lot from them, but it failed. And then after that, we basically said hey, we got to figure out how we can just figure out what someone has done in our situation to get out of that situation, and who has found success and has created a success pattern for that. And so I'll let Katie kind of share what that looked like throughout the struggles that we were going through and what actually allowed us to achieve success in our life, because it literally set us in the right direction.
Absolutely. So that first business venture that we had kind of started was more along the lines of selling products online. Totally flopped to be expected. Miserably. Failed awful, flat on our faces, which is fine because, you kind of have to have that first failing moment in order to kind of see somewhat of a proof of concept and think, okay, how do I make this work? So after that failed, we had found an additional kind of online coach mentor who was teaching us to do similar things, but with marketing for local businesses. And we were both very intrigued by that. It was something that we both kind of had an interest in. I was a marketing major in college. I wouldn't have picked that if I didn't have an interest in it. And he was a business psychology major, so we both kind of had an interest in that field. So it was a lot of money to get started with this particular coach or mentor. It was about $1,000 investment, and at the time, $1,000 seemed like $1 million. It was like, there's no way
with 60
I
grand
could invest
in debt,
that.
You're like, $1,000 to learn something.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Exactly. But Jordan kind of took one for the team, took out a line of credit, and just said, screw it, let's do it. Swiped the card. We jumped all in. And we did spend about 3 to 4 months just totally absorbing this information because, there's something about spending another person's money and having another person trust you with that.
Yeah.
That's to me, it's gut wrenching.
Right.
It's oh my God, this has to work. I have to be perfect at this before I take money for it. And I feel a lot of hairstylists can relate. The first time you touch a client's head of hair who pays you for it, it's oh, I hope I don't mess this up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we spent like 3 months probably just absorbing as much information as we could before we finally kind of went out on a limb to get our first client. And so the way we did that is the same way that we preach and teach for all of our beauty pros to go out and get their first handful of clients. And that's just using social media, boots on the ground type of work. So I was literally just messaging businesses.
Yeah.
At the time, it was anyone and everyone in the area.
Gotcha.
Whoever, we could get to trust us at, 21 years old.
Yeah.
So one of the first people who actually said yes and took a chance on us was a microblading artist named Kate, who was our first client ever. And, we said, we'll do this for you for free. We just kind of need a proof of concept that this works. We just ask you to kind of spend whatever you're going to spend with Facebook in order to get the results,
right.
which we asked for $100 for that. And even then, when somebody has $100 on the line, it was like,
right.
I hope this works, right?
They better make their money back at least.
Exactly. Which she did tenfold. She wound up making $4,500 in appointments in 3 days, which was like a godsend. It was amazing.
Yeah, and that must have felt amazing for you guys too.
So to recap that, we kind of got off course.
Yeah.
Basically what happened was we were going through shit.
Yeah.
We went to college, paid a lot of money to learn some shit that we thought we were going to figure out. Mm-hmm. We didn't learn it. And we got into a worse situation, and so we basically had to go out on our own and figure out what the heck do I do to get to where I want to be, to help myself, help my family, help my future. And, we ended up investing in ourselves. I took out a line of credit, literally went, balls to the wall and said, hey, I have nothing left to lose. I'm going to spend the money I have into someone who's already figured the stuff out and just go with it. And we figured out the strategy, figured out the solution. Then we realized, hey, I know what I need to do. Now I need to get a client. Right. Just like when you go to beauty school. Right. And a lot of people go through the same journey that we went through. That's where we resonate with so many people in the industry. Right. Even though we're not there cutting hair, we're not there rubbing on faces and stuff like that. We still work with people in all those industries, and we help them do the same things that we've gone through, which is
Absolutely.
Figure out, what do I need to do? Where am I lacking right now? And how do I get myself to where I want to be? Right. Whatever the service is.
It's similar with us. I mean, for me personally, go through school, feel like you learn nothing, and then you have an apprenticeship or you assist someone if you want to take that extra year to do that, which a lot of people don't. They just want to start. But if you do take that opportunity, you end up so much further, so much quicker. Yeah. Because you got to find a mentor. You got to attach to someone that's doing it. Right. So one of the reasons why I was excited to have you guys on is because I'm an actual living, breathing client of yours. So I've been through the process with them. I'm part of their online university, and I'm utilizing them for some of our marketing and our Facebook advertising and stuff like that. So tell me a little bit about what you do for your clients.
Yeah, so basically, where we figured this whole thing out was learning from someone who was already successful, just killing it in their industry and applying it to the industry that we found, which is the beauty industry. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people ask, how the heck did you get into the beauty industry? Right. And I never found myself, wanting to go and dive into something like that, but it just kind of found me because of the people we worked with. Yeah. And this first microblading specialist we work with, I don't know if Katie shared yet, but she was an advertising major, was struggling with, she knew all the tips in the world about microblading. Yeah. She was an expert because she had literally invested $12,000 into her training. She figured it all out. Right. The strategy, the education, everything. Yeah. But she didn't know how to get the clients. Right. Right. And so the first thing we ran for her was a simple advertising campaign, which basically just highlighted what she would do for the client. And we actually ran a little giveaway for her, which was basically, hey, I'm offering, a free microblading solution to one lucky person in the local area. If you want to be a part of it, go ahead and click here and enter your name, email, phone number, and we will go ahead and enter you in the giveaway. And if you want an extra entry, what we would do is basically collect that contact information on the front end, and then if they wanted an extra entry, they could just share it on Facebook, and that would go out to their whole network. Gotcha. Which allowed actually this whole campaign to generate 340 plus leads in a whole week.
It basically went viral in the local area. It was really cool.
Wow.
But to answer your question, which is how do I get people in the door and things like that, is it all comes down to your in the door offer. What do I present to myself? What do I present to my potential clients and allow myself to come across as different, unique, and present myself as having that what we call that value stacked offer.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's going to get people, to want to come see us versus the whole competition out there. So there's 100 different hairstylists, makeup, beauty pros out there. Why are they going to come see us? Right.
Exactly. They're not going to come see you just because you're you. You have to put something sexy, habit breaking in front of them that's going to really be almost like a pattern interrupt and think like, wow, like that's something my current stylist doesn't do that I might be interested in.
Right.
So.
Because we know we're great. And I know all of my girls are great, but there's a salon on every corner. This is a super saturated industry right now.
Yeah.
So, somebody searching salon near me, they're going to have 10 options versus, 10 years ago they had 2.
Yeah.
So, what is it that's going to bring them in? And what is it that's going to set you apart? And it's really nothing I've found different than what you're doing if you are doing your job correctly. But it's just breaking it down to the client. Like, this is what all's going to happen from the time you park your car to the time you're driving home.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about putting it in front of them before you actually drop the price, which is literally a common problem that we've seen a lot of people do in the industry is, someone will come to them, they'll ask, how much for highlights? How much for an all over color? How much for this? And, stylist, whoever will just say, oh, it's $150.
Yeah.
When do you want to book? And it's like, you haven't actually told me like what in the world I'm getting for $150.
Right.
Like you didn't tell me I'm getting a consultation, a style consultation, a head massage at the bowl. You told me none of that. I just think you're going to slap some bleach on my hair.
Hope it turns out okay.
Hope it turns out great. Send me home. Like you've told me nothing.
Yeah.
And then all I hear from stylists all day long is, oh, people are so cheap. I tell them $150 and, they just ghost me. It's just because people are cheap these days. No one's cheap. They just want value for their money.
Right.
And it's on us to prove it to them.
The real problem is there's so many other options nowadays. And like you just need to be more attentive to like what makes you different and why people should do business with you, right?
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem in the industry that we found, like from our first client, we've been talking about Kate, who, was an advertising major. She learned all this, stuff about advertising, but never really got any clients in the door using it. And the real problem is that like people just don't know how to sell themselves.
Right.
And sell their services and sell the reason why someone should come to you.
Right.
Like you have to be a salesperson in this industry.
Yes.
Right. And like people just don't understand that and no one teaches it and it's the blind leading the blind like we talk about all the time.
Right.
Which is like everyone's just saying like, hey, you learn how to be the best at your services, you just tell people what you do and they'll show up.
Right.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way, right?
Right.
There's like 100 million other options. You need to be a salesperson. You need to sell yourself, sell your services. You need to market what the hell that is so people know what it is.
Right. And if you think about it as a salon owner, as a renter, you are the one that's assigned the value to that service. Yeah. So you're really just saying, well, why did you assign that value? And then you're translating it into things that a client will understand.
100%.
Exactly. The reason for that value cannot be because I'm worth it.
Right.
Because I'm charging my worth.
Yeah.
Right. We hear it all the time, and that is great. And it is probably because you're worth it.
Right.
But the client doesn't know you from Adam.
Right.
So you've got to tell them why you're worth it.
Right.
Yeah. So that like sexy, eye-catching, habit-breaking in-the-door offer, which we talk about all the time. Let's like break that down. Like, what does that mean? Like, a sexy offer is something that's going to catch people's attention.
Right.
If you're putting out content, you're putting out an advertisement, it's something that's actually going to, hook them to be that bait that like, hey, look at me, right? So like whether it be like even a video walkthrough of your service, like a demo of like, hey, this is, an amazing, like you've seen the colorist videos, like stuff that Jay puts out there that you guys put out there. Yeah. That's that amazing content that just like catches their attention. That's sexy, right? That's what people want to see, right? Yeah. But the eye-catching factor is something that like, hey, I just watched this, video. What's going to catch my attention in the offer that makes me want to actually come in? So it's like, hey, like let's detail everything that we're going to be doing in our appointments on that first visit. Right. Because you're not marketing to your current clients, you're marketing to new clients, right? Right. If you're like marketing to current clients, like you're just sticking with what you've got. That's not growth. Right. That's just retention, right? Like we're trying to market. Market is new attention, new awareness, new clients, right? And so we need to let people know like, hey, when you come in for that first visit with us, this is what you're going to experience. Yeah. And that's what creates like eye-catching, like, oh, wow, like this, first visit with, Ash Copper Salon is, I'm going to get this, revitalizing hair shampoo. I'm going to get this conditioning treatment. I'm going to get this styling styling consultation. I'm going to get like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so much in this. You even said yourself, like, you know, a lot of clients call in, am I really like, I don't have to pay for this stuff,
people
right?
that have seen the offer that you guys created for us, we've gotten a few calls and texts that's like, they ask, is this a real salon?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, here's our website.
Yes, I exist.
And then here's my work.
Because the offer like that you're giving them is like, it's so sexy, so eye-catching.
It's too good to be true almost.
Exactly.
And so they're like, well, is this a real offer?
Right.
Like, what's the real price going to be? And then I ask them a lot of follow-up questions because it depends what's going on in the chair.
Right.
Exactly.
100%.
And then I think people also are like, I get a lot of people that are like, would you personally be doing it? I'm like, if you want. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, you can have me.
Yeah.
I'm not the best one here, but because I'm the owner, you think that. Like, I'll do your hair.
I may have to charge you more, but yes, I can be the one to do it, right?
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, no one cares at the end of the day about the price. And I think that's the biggest misconception in the industry is like, everyone thinks it's price. Like, let's keep charging the lowest, so hopefully we can get a client in. And that's not what we're trying to do. Like, even when we're advertising, even through we're putting out content, we're creating this, you know, offer to get people in the door. It doesn't mean the price has to be the lowest.
They just want their money's worth.
It means the value.
Yeah.
The value has to be high, and then at the end of the day, like, you could be charging your full price appointment and creating an in-the-door offer that's sexy, eye-catching, and habit-breaking, which habit-breaking means, like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to get here that's going to be different from my current stylist?
Yes.
That's going to make me break a habit and go to them versus who I'm currently going to.
Exactly.
Right? And so, like, you know, if you have all those things lined up and the value is high enough, it really doesn't matter what the price is.
Right.
Like, if this person's calling you and saying, like, am I really getting that? Like, you know, they're already so excited, and you're saying, hell yeah, you're going to get that. Like, you know, all we got to do is book your appointment. You know, we're going to come in. You're going to come in, and, like, we're going to go through your consultation and figure out what the exact cost is. It may be from here to here, but we're going to figure that when you come in. When would you like to book? The price doesn't matter.
Right.
You're getting that butt in the seat.
Exactly.
And that's at the end of the day what it takes to grow a business is getting enough butts in your seats.
Yes.
To have lifetime clients that are going to be for the long term.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, like, I think at the end of the day, like, you know, what we've done and what we're teaching and what we're, you know, pursuing all of our time, energy, and effort into is, like, helping people figure out, how do I get those butts in the seats? How do I figure out how to create that offer that makes me unique, makes me different, and figure out what niche I need to focus on or what type of person I need to focus on in my market that makes people want to come to me versus the 300 other people, the great clips, the, you know, super cuts, the whatever, you know, salon out there, and come to me and then come in and get that amazing experience so that they stick for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Because what's a lifetime customer worth to you? Someone
almost my left arm.
Well, like, how often do they come to see you? Like, every 6 weeks?
It just depends. Now that hair painting and balayage is a thing, like, we love it, but also you don't see people as often. But so it just depends what services they're getting. But I mean, I have root retouch that's like every 3 weeks. I used to have one that was every 2 weeks. She moved,
so, like,
but
every 3
not
weeks,
a gray hair could show.
There's like 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah.
So this 3 week client that comes back every 3 weeks, like, this is the thing. So 52 divided by 3. This person comes through. If you do good service, they're coming back 17.333 times a year. So 17 times a year. We'll just shortcut it. How much do they spend with you per ticket?
I would say if it's just a root retouch and a haircut, it's $120.
$120.
Right there.
So that client's worth $2,000. $2,040 worth to you for the year.
Right.
Right? And so, like, how do we find clients that are worth $2,000
to us? We just need
20
of those, and that's not that many.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, if we have, like, 50 of those clients, we have a $100,000 business.
Right. And that's not even talking about highlight services, the more pricey services.
Exactly.
So
that's 6 figures.
Yeah.
We need 50 of those clients.
Right.
Period. Right? And so, like, that's what people don't understand is, like, most people just go in and, like, I'm going to perform my service and figure it all out and keep doing what I'm doing. And they just end up in this circle of, like, ups and downs and ups and downs. And, you know, oh, this month is just a slow month. And, oh, I had a great month this month. I made a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
And the next month they're broke.
Right.
You know? And so, like, that's not a real business.
Right.
And so what we're trying to bring to the industry is, like, how do you run a real freaking business?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like,
And treat it like a business.
Yeah.
Not like a
whether
solo
you're
service.
commission, rental, whatever, it is your small business within a slightly larger business.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. Like, that's what we're here to do. Like, no one just came into this industry to, you know, I hear so many people, what's your goals for your business? And they're like, you know, I just want to have a great clientele and treat them great and be happy. And it's like, that's your goal? That's what you want? Like, you just want to have happy clients. Like, you know, while that may be great that you have happy clients, like, what do you actually want?
Yeah. Do you want to take a vacation?
Yeah.
Do you want to retire?
Do you want to take care of your kids?
Do you want to be okay?
Do you want to leave a legacy for your future kids, your grandkids?
Yeah.
Like, what do you actually want? What's the perfect future for you? And how are you going to get there? And it all comes down to numbers, because numbers, you know, like, people lie and numbers don't. Right?
Numbers can be very eye-opening.
It's true.
100%. And so, like, the first thing we always talk about, you know, with anyone we work with is, like, how do we get clear on the vision, the goals, and the numbers?
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, we figure out, like, what's your monthly income goal, like, right now? So, Stefanie, what's your monthly goal for your salon right now?
For me personally, like, I've broken down all of my stylist goals, and like I said, I want to, you know, kind of step back from behind the chair. But right now, if they're hitting their goals, I still need to personally bring in $4,000 a month to the salon through services, which is not hard to do. But until I don't need to do that anymore, I can't step away from the chair. So that's got to happen, and then that's got to get passed off to them.
100%.
So my goal is very realistic.
Yeah, so you need to make $4,000 a month. You personally, right? And what do you feel the salon needs to be making per month?
I think for everybody to be cozy and not like me awake at night, we need to bring in $24,000 a month. And that's also not, it's not great, but it's not like crazy unrealistic.
Well, I mean, it's very interesting too, like, to anyone who's watching who may be, you know, a stylist who wants to shift to a salon owner. Like, that's a big jump from, like, hey, $4,000 for me will produce enough to the business to make it healthy. $24,000 for the whole business. Like, that's a big jump.
And that's like just baby goal number one.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
you just started a couple months ago.
We just opened,
right?
And
so that's a good goal, I think. So, like, you know, just to break it down, like, you know, what we would like to do is, you know, start with that monthly income goal. So $24,000 a month. Let's take that goal and let's break it down to, hey, how much is that, like, actually per, like, week? So there's 4 weeks in a month, so we divide that by 4. So your salon needs to be producing $6,000 a month, right? And so, like, or, sorry, per week, per week, right? So
I wish that's all we needed.
Like, whoa, that's all I need to do, right? But $6,000 per week, that kind of breaks down. It's like $6,000 a week. Like, we got a whole team and stuff. That's not that hard to do.
If there's 6 of us.
100%.
All hands on deck.
And you fine tune it depending on who works 3 days, who works 5 days, whatever. But until you have to get out of your fear and look at those numbers. And if you guys don't know where the hell we're pulling these numbers from, like, maybe drop a comment and we'll get connected and we'll help you out. But that's the beginning, vision, goal, and looking at the actual numbers.
Exactly.
Like, figure out how much time you make per month, per day, all that stuff. And
but a lot of this you guys go over. So, like, you're not just doing marketing and advertising for the salon. So a lot of this, all of this actually gets brought up. And not only that, you walk people through all of this in the online university. So do you want to talk about that a little bit as well?
I'll let Katie talk. I've been talking a lot.
Absolutely. So we do have the online university. And the way I like to put it is it takes you from building the foundations of your business all the way up until getting booked out a month in advance. It can take you there. So with the foundations of your business, we go over the numbers, getting set, like, what does your average day need to look like? Like, what do your responsibilities need to be on a daily basis to be like a kick-ass business owner? And then moving forward from there, like, how do we even get started with, like, social media and online? Like, where do I start with Facebook? Where do I start with Instagram? Like, what do I do here? And then also in-person networking. So that's kind of the things that I like to call, like, the free ways to grow your business. Because you're not having to give so you're not having to give Mark Zuckerberg any money. You're able to grow your business and get a foundation before having to reinvest. And then we go into the paid advertising stuff that we're doing with you kind of in the latter part of the course. So it literally takes you from, like, ground zero all the way out to putting systems in place that book clients while you sleep. So in a shotgun, that's the university. And I love it because it's given people the opportunity to come in, get started, and start making money right away.
Right.
So we've had some clients come in who have literally gotten started and within the first 2 hours made over $2,000.
Wow.
Which was so cool.
Just utilizing what you guys are showing.
Exactly.
And
it's not that hard.
It's not. And you guys do make it like very simple. And I like that the modules are super short and to the point, but they're all grouped into like categories. So you can watch all the modules in that one category and like take notes and get going. Or if this is really foreign to you, you can literally do one module a day, implement it once you feel like you got it, and you're going to keep going with it on to the next, because we all learn differently.
Exactly.
So
we was just working. I filmed like 11 videos today on like what we're calling our module 0 in the course, which is just fast track things to do to like just get clients, make money, grow your business right now. Because it's really
I love that
hard.
You guys constantly update too.
Well, because like,
always.
I mean, just like you should be doing with your clients, and you probably do with your clients. Like the best thing you can do to really build the perfect business is like get feedback and figure out like, you know, throughout your processes, throughout your treatments, throughout your, you know, your consultation, like what feedback you're getting and how can you make that better?
Yeah,
and that's like honestly like what we've tried to continue to do time after time to create, you know, the perfect program, the perfect product, the perfect service, to create our perfect success path to get people from where they're at now to 6 to 7 figures. Right.
Yeah.
And so like you as a hairstylist, like, you know, the perfect thing that you could do to implement that same strategy is like get the feedback, talk to your clients, figure out what they want, and like how can I figure out how to make my customer service, my consultation, you know, my product line fit right in line with solving problems. Right. And so like, that's what we've tried to do. So we do that in a number of ways. Like, you know, we do it through our course. We have a coaching program, and then we also do done for you services like we're doing with you.
Right.
It's all around getting clients, making more money, and moving towards those goals.
And you guys put out a lot of free education as well. So it gives people an opportunity to kind of get to know you and to see what you're doing, how you teach. You interview a lot of people. So let's talk about that. And it's a Facebook group, completely free.
Yes.
How can people find you if they want to learn more?
So we have our free Facebook group. It is Salon and Beauty Pro Marketing Education. We do weekly live interviews in there from every corner of the industry, business building.
Yeah. You've been in there.
It's the best one.
It was pretty good. We got, I think, over like 1,000+ views.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And it was like when we were just getting started out.
Yeah.
It was like 6 to 9 months ago. But like we do interviews in there. We do weekly trainings in there.
Yeah,
so
tons of free education.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't really have the money to invest yet, but wants to, you know, consume education to get started learning how to grow their business, it's the perfect place to be. And then along with that, we also have our free online training. So at realbeautybosses.com/free training, we have an 1.5-hour training, again, just with the foundations of growing your business.
Okay.
Yeah. We kind of broken down like the steps to take right now to grow your business. And then of course, like, you know, if you want the extra help, we talk about, you know, what we can do to get you involved in our university and things like that. But I think a lot of people are, you know, in this industry, everyone's like, oh, is this just another one of those marketing companies that's going to pitch me and all that stuff? And like, you know, no, like, you know, we learned ourselves, you know, by getting value and value attainment and interviews and all that stuff and figuring it all out. And then at the right time, making the right investment. And so we've tried to create the whole path, you know, to giving you as much value content, free information as we possibly can. And then if you want to, you know, get the direct hands-on help, here we are. You know?
Perfect. Awesome.
100%.
Well, I feel like I could ask you guys questions all day, but our time is coming to a close. We will definitely be seeing you guys again.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, like they said, join the Facebook group, or you can find their website. It is realbeautybosses.com, correct?
Yeah, realbeautybosses.com. And if you want to reach our free training, it's realbeautybosses.com/free training.
Pretty
There's literally
easy to remember.
Whole training that walks you through how to get 5 to 10 clients every single week. Double your business and get as many people as you want reaching out to you. So
absolutely.
If you want to reach us one-on-one too, it's realbeautybosses.com/book.
Cool.
Book a call with our team and see what we can do to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again for coming on. Thank you all for joining us, and we will be back in just a few minutes.
What's up? This is Wesley Olsen. We're here in the heart of Old Town Scottsdale, Arizona. Been in the salon game for about 20 years. I opened this place up about 3 years ago. as a culmination and a combination of all the collective experiences I've had throughout the industry. We've got 26 chairs here, 17 amazing, beautiful, progressive artists. This place is about always finding the next level of ourselves and each other, our salon family. It's about growth, it's about constantly getting better and always elevating the game. Originally, I opened up a salon because I didn't want to have a boss. I think that was, I jumped into it wanting a space where me and my crew or my closest friends could just do badass hair. And then it's kind of evolved into an actual real life business. But it did start as kind of a frat house mentality where I just didn't want to be told what to do. And that was the beginning. I also wanted to have a space where, just like I was saying, constantly push each other to find the next version of ourselves, to constantly push each other to get better and to grow as artists. And I didn't want any time limits on that. I didn't want any hours. I didn't want a 9 to 5 because I just felt like the creativity never stopped, and I wanted to capture that.
Hey, welcome back. So we had a wonderful first 2 segments. Jay is back with me.
I'm back.
Where you been? Who'd you see? What you been doing?
Well, I was hiding in the green room.
Okay.
And I was eating all of the food that was in the green room.
We do have some amazing food tonight.
Dude, it was pretty incredible. Cuisine by Celine is the jam. The food was delicious. I'm not gonna try and pronounce what I liked the most, but it was incredible. There was a lemon poppy seed little treat, and then the crab cakes were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Her and her family have a rich history in what they're putting together with the Cuisine by Celine, and the food was dynamite this evening. Did you get to try any of it?
I did, and this is the second time that Celine's brought us food, and we get to eat goodies during our break. Like I said, we're very spoiled, but yeah, absolutely delicious.
I like the family business vibe.
Yeah, I do
that's
too.
what I like, and they're doing it, and the food is great. So yeah, that we thank them for coming out, and that's the second time we've got to enjoy her amazing food. I can't cook anything.
Oh, really?
So it is truly special every time I get to eat anything that isn't cereal.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you, Cuisine by Celine.
Yes, thank you, Celine.
You guys are incredible. I'm going to take my sweater off really quick.
Okay, you go ahead. Jay is losing the sweater because it is very itchy.
So, I don't know if you got a good look at this. I don't know if you guys got a good look at this, but
Let's take a little walk through your sweater.
this is my conspiracy theory sweater. And the greatest part about this sweater, other than the message that it brings, which is very conspiracy driven, hopefully everybody knows exactly what's going on here. But the best part about this is the fact that it's made out of a material that I've only seen in hotel rooms as a duvet cover. So if you get a feel on that, it's
true.
It is not just any hotel room, but a really inexpensive hotel room. Like this sweater was made of a 2-star duvet cover, Motel 6 near the truck stop material.
Maybe with a little bit of hay woven in.
A little bit, yeah. So this is the only thing that I asked for Christmas. My wife got it for me. She puts up with the ridiculous things that I treasure, and this is it. And now it's going to be keeping me warm during the evening.
Perfect. I love it.
So the beauty bosses.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Well, it's like I was saying earlier, like they have it together, like, and they're doing everything that I don't know how to do. So it from an artist's perspective and somebody that's trying to run a business, super cool to see, and hear the information that they have, because it's all stuff, we all think differently,
right?
And I think we're all curators, and we all create, and I like to try my best to focus on like what I'm good at, and outside of that, I gotta try and hand the baton off, because I have a lot of weak spots, as we all do, and one of those huge weak spots would be the business end of like marketing and really getting the business out there outside of the creativity.
Yeah.
So it was super cool listening to them and their story, and they're very much needed in the industry, because they have the ability to help the creators get to their highest level and remain organized, which is the biggest thing, is like just managing it all and making sure it's in the right places and going the right direction. And so, yeah, super cool to listen to them.
Yeah, it's true. And I think so many hairstylists just don't have that part developed in their brain yet. Mm-hmm. It's not to say that you don't have it at all, but it's just something that you haven't had to, a muscle you haven't worked out yet. So,
yeah.
But they really, lit the fire under my ass. And I like their online training because it's very short segments. Mm-hmm. So you can sit for an hour and do a bunch of them, or you can just do one a day. It's like a couple minutes.
Right.
And then work on implementing it before you go to the next thing if you're, easily distracted.
Well, yeah, as I am very easily. If I'm not distracted, my son or daughter is definitely going to run up at some point and like either like smack me in the head or like need something, or like some shit's going to go down at my house. So it needs to be short. And I mean, the cool part, I saw a couple of a little bit of their training, and it's understandable is the big thing. Like they don't go too far above my pay grade in being able to understand what the hell they're talking about. So it's able to be put into motion and translates easier to the artist brain, which I thought was one of the coolest parts.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? Are you trying to get away from working behind the chair at some point? Are you trying to walk away from the business and roll up every couple weeks and make sure things are good? Like, what's your next big goal?
Like I tried doing the whole goal thing. Mm-hmm. My goal is always pushing forward. It's always having my foot on the gas pedal.
Right.
I noticed that over time, in like trying to attain the goals that I was setting for myself, new ones would come. And it would like evolve and grow, and it was like it would always turn into like these weird unattainable situations. I keep it pretty simple. I keep pushing forward, and opportunities, I try and work with those and see how to, obviously like what I'm passionate about, and finding something that drives me. Right now, I'm really focused on opening up the new space that we're opening in Arcadia. Bespoke will be moving to Arcadia, and more than ever, I want to stay home in Arizona, which is why this was so appealing to do this with you, is because it's in Arizona.
Yep.
And just building the crew that I have here, the family that I have here, obviously being with my kids and my wife, but building and finding the greatest potential of everybody that's working under our roof at Bespoke.
Right.
And that's going to happen more than ever in the new space. So that will kind of be my be all end all as far as right now. Helping that to find the greatest version of itself and becoming a smooth running operation for the artists and the family that I have there. Pulp Riot is always going to be a thing. I'm traveling less for them, but trying to do more at the same time.
Right.
They continue to grow exponentially.
Yeah.
And we have over 100 new products coming out this year.
Oh, crazy.
And I typically would mention a couple of those. I just don't know if I'm allowed to yet. So there's a huge amount of incredible products coming out for Pulp Riot over the next year. So I'll be repping them, of course. They're my family, and being here. Like this has become something that I'm very passionate about and something very excited about. I was talking to Benko the other day about an article that he sent me that was based around passion and purpose. And it's interesting because the article basically goes on to explain like that we almost got it wrong as far as like I do what I'm passionate about, or I work for what I'm passionate about, or what makes you happy. But really, is that the case, or are you, or do you need to find something that is your purpose? Like, what is like in your heart, what you feel like you're supposed to be doing? Maybe it doesn't make you, it's not about like being happy necessarily, but like what you're talking about, like religion and shit like that. Right. It's like, what is your purpose? And, he actually, after speaking with his girlfriend a little bit, he texted me later that night and said, this industry is my purpose. And that's why, it's so perfect for me, because I can't, I don't know that there's another industry where I would be able to use my purpose, which is to connect with people and form relationships outside of hairdressing and outside of the beauty industry. So it's interesting to think, and it actually made me rethink, because it's like, I do what I'm passionate about. I do what I'm passionate about. Yeah. This is my passion. This is my passion. But is it really my passion? Because obviously it does make me happy, but like, it almost makes more sense to say, this is my purpose. Like, it is my purpose to have these connections through the beauty industry, and, make people feel better about themselves, and to go back full circle to what we were just talking about in your question. I feel like part of my purpose is to be here hanging out with you. Although we're having a great time, I feel like there is a very purposeful situation that's happening in order to spread the word, and in order to get it out there, and introduce people to other artists that need to share their story, that need to inspire those particular artists. You know what I mean? Because you never know, even just telling your story, like how you came up and how you got here and what you're doing right now. When people hear that, like people need to hear that, because so much of that, I mean, even like think about just like trying a new technique, right? And you said you're kind of self-made in like how you do your thing, right? But how much better did it make you feel when you hear somebody say that they do the same thing, or they've tried that before? It just kind of reiterates, like, I'm okay, like I'm safe, and like this is okay what I'm doing. And there's people, with the internet and everything, and like the word that we can spread so quickly. How many people can we, keep on their right course, or help to find their way just from sharing, like my ridiculous story, or what you have going on. So I do feel like there's a purpose to this, and it's more than just having fun, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. Same. So speaking of online and that whole community, like, do you sit and get sucked into other people's Instagram videos as far as like hair in our industry?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Who are you loving right now?
I mean, I can't pull away from like the memes, obviously. Yeah. But like, I really do love hair cutting videos, like those hypnotic videos that you see where you're just kind of like, it's over and then you kind of like snap out of it. Yeah. Or you actually like, you're laying down and you drop your phone on your own face. Right. Like those are kind of what I'm paying attention to. Is I love watching Josh LaMonica do men's haircuts right now. Mm-hmm. I love obviously I bring up Ben Coe a lot. I love to watch him cut. There are times where I have to actually get a hold of myself and get back to doing my own work, because I'm standing there staring at him, like drooling a little bit. And that's, but even my clients will, they like it when I kind of turn my chair so they can watch, you know, and they watch him haircutting, because I think precision haircutting is kind of what I like to watch right now. And that's because it's outside of my realm, one, but it's so precise and meticulous and the opposite of me. Yeah. It's mesmerizing to watch. So, honestly, other than like like panda bears and shit like that. Like in the beauty, if we're talking just beauty industry and not animals like hugging each other and shit.
Right.
It's those precision haircuts for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I am so very obsessed with this girl, Ashley Norman. I don't know if you've seen her.
Not yet,
Instagram.
but I will.
You should check it out. She does these like ridiculous, I would call them all color corrections, but she started finally showing her cuts too. So we actually hosted her and she taught a class at my last salon.
Okay.
And one of my stylists just wanted her and I messaged her and she came. So that's how I ever discovered her. And she takes the model before. She's teaching color, she's teaching balayage, she's teaching all of that. But she's pre-cutting them to have them best reflect what she's going to do color-wise.
Okay.
That was all behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And now she's starting to film that. And she's like, shag haircuts for everyone. She's doing all these crazy shag cuts that I'm obsessed with.
Right.
So I'm loving her. And then, I love my Sam Villa. I cannot get over him.
Yeah.
And he's old school, but he's like followed the Instagram train and his stuff is super cool. And, all the people that work with him, I get sucked into that. And he's like doing all these crazy alien braids and stuff. He's just like sticking with the times. And I love him. He's like a magical, wise man. I met him for like 4 minutes. Changed my life. So Sam Villa, I have a lot of stories about Sam. Can we get him on here?
I think I might be able to. I have his phone. I have his phone number in here. I have Sam Villa's phone number in here.
I was like awkward fangirl, but I think I could.
I bet I'd get arrested if we did call him. But he's a brilliant human being. He's incredibly talented, obviously.
Yeah.
But he also has the biggest heart. He has Arizona ties.
Is he magic? When I met him, I feel like I was meeting like Deepak Chopra or Jesus. He was so nice. Yeah. And then he said to me, I'm going to work with you one day. Like, I'll see you again, my friend. And I was like,
see, that's it.
When? Where? How do I do this?
Did you notice? Have you ever looked down at his feet like when he walks? Because they don't. He levitates a little bit.
Shut up.
Sam Villa levitates. But no,
I believe it.
In all seriousness, though, I will tell you one thing. He's been in the game for how long? 265 years.
Yeah.
He still at every hair show.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good story. Sam and that whole Redken crew, they saw we somehow managed to get a prep room. Pulp Riot, me and Pulp Riot got a prep room next to them, and like we look over and they have like this big immaculate spread of food.
Yeah.
And we have like bagels.
Yeah.
And they would come over and like show us so much love and like appreciation and be fired up for us. They would do our chant with us. Justin Isaac, all the big names for Redken and Sam would always like they would help us. They would and it was really cool because they in a way, in a prep room way, they were always kind of like mentoring us at these shows, and they still continue to do that. And like we would, it'd be like, oh God, like I would talk to my buddy Doug, like I can't wait till we actually get some like sliced cantaloupe. Well, actually not cantaloupe because that's like the parsley of fruit, but like real fruit, like nice pineapple and watermelon, and like that's what we want to be as like them. And they were so kind and giving, and Sam actually, 2 stories really quick, like. We would be going out to do some stage work, and Sam actually came up to me and Doug Theo, who is the creative director and education director for Pulp Riot now, one of my dear friends. Sam took his tray and pushed it out to the stage for him. Sam Villa, 265 years of experience, like the man, Gandhi himself doing hair,
right?
And he's pushing Doug's tray out to the stage. One of the other coolest things is a lot of the artists, especially some of the social media people who have gotten a little big for their britches, we'll say. My grandmother would say that. They would always go around the back way and not go through the crowd of people to get to the stage, because they were the shit all of a sudden, like within hours. Sam continues to, over the last like 25, 30 years, he still goes through the crowd of everybody, still says hi to everybody, still makes himself a part of the show rather than like the headliner.
Right.
And that's just incredible, especially after that long, and especially after the what he's built and the legacy that he's built. It would be more than acceptable for him to travel in a horse and carriage up to the stage, but he doesn't. He's still one of us. He's still part of us. And like I said, he does have Arizona ties. I bet I could make this happen.
All right, that's our goal.
That is our goal.
Yeah. When I met him, it was at a hair show, and I saw him sitting in the back watching the whole time until it was his moment. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nobody realizes that's him. And I'm like, is it awkward if I just go like sit by him? I didn't.
On his lap?
I'm normal.
Yeah.
But I didn't. But then when he just walked up and talked to me afterwards, and I was like, man, I totally could have sat with him next time.
Yeah.
Next time.
There will be a time where we do sit with him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else we might want. I mean, there's so many people from Pulp Riot that I'd like to have on here.
Yeah.
All the way from the founders to everybody involved. A lot of bespoke crew that I'd like to have on here.
Absolutely.
Too bad Patrick Swayze is no longer with us. I'd love to have him on here.
Have him do some haircuts.
Some Dirty Dancing.
I loved me some Swayze, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Cindy and I are watching the movies that made us on Netflix right now. Mm-hmm. And there's like behind the scenes on all these movies. And they did one on Dirty Dancing, and it was pretty impressive and a tearjerker, and made me appreciate Pat Swayze so much more. That's a man amongst men.
It is. There. I love him.
Okay.
I already loved him. I didn't have to watch it on the thing.
So what's going on with you? Like what's going to be your next?
I'm just really focusing on building my business and getting it where it needs to be, and getting my girls all built, and maybe like stepping back a little bit in order to do that. So I'm just kind of learning and figuring out how to make that transition and how to get them to, be on fire as much. Well, no one's ever going to be on fire as much as you are for your own business, but like a little bit close to where I'm at. Just get them passionate about it and wanting to grow with the business.
Right.
And kind of understanding that it's all connected. We have such a good crew right now, but we're small. So, the next thing is bringing people in, like it's a group effort, and they are voted in basically. Mm-hmm. But we need to grow, so we obviously got to bring some more folks in. But it's like when you get that sweet spot where there's not, a bad seed. Yeah, it's so hard because you're like, let's just stay like this forever. Yeah. So that's kind of my next phase with everything, and hitting it hard once I get through holidays. Mm-hmm. So that's about it. Nothing too crazy. We're going to go wild with this, and I'm going to meet Sam Villa and maybe fall in love with him. I don't know.
I just met your husband though. He looks like he's got some tattoos.
He does.
He looks strong.
He is freakishly strong.
He looks strong though. I see an athletic build. I see an athletic build.
Yeah, he's cut. He is cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could have like a hair industry husband, or like maybe like Sam is more like a godfather.
Yeah.
I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a romance per se. It would just be like a work love. Mm-hmm. I just want him to like adopt me. I'm too old.
I want him to keep me at his house and just feed and water me daily.
Exactly.
And, well, but that's what he does with his knowledge and his techniques.
It's true.
We kind of lost track a little bit right there.
Sorry, I'm getting off the rails.
But you did bring up like the having your space at home and helping them build the team that you have here, and I think that's so important. and what I try and do, and I don't obviously like at the end, then I'll be able to figure out if I did it well or not. But try and offer like every opportunity that the artist could possibly have.
Right.
You know. Other than opening up their own salon, whereas if that's what they wanted to do, I would still support them more than anything.
Right.
But just trying to offer an environment and a house where they can find anything and everything that they're trying to do. Because I do feel like, and you've been in it for a while, is like for so long salons and the hairdressing industry was always like educational wise, it was always kind of like a dictatorship, you know, as far as like all the old salons that I worked at. It's like you got trained and you had to do it that way. Way back, I wasn't allowed to use a flat iron. I wasn't allowed to use clippers. Like nothing outside of what they did was acceptable. And I couldn't believe that was the case, you know?
Right.
And now at this point, you know, especially like just thinking about bespoke and the way that we all do things is everybody in there does things differently. But the common word and the common vibe and feel and why we are all so connected is because, one, we appreciate each other. Two, there's no ego. But the biggest thing is we all want to do it at our highest level.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that it all has to look the same, be the same, or get done the same. You know, there's so many different ways. And that's what I learned really quickly is when I broke free from my first salon that I was working at, is that there's so many ways to do something or to get to a goal or a look that you're trying to do, hair color wise, haircut wise. And how can you say that one of those ways of doing it is wrong if it looks fucking good?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that doesn't. And I think that would be weird for me to say.
I think it's whatever way your brain processes how to get from A to B.
Right.
And like, yeah, if there's a faster, easier way, you'll figure it out. Or you'll watch someone and go like, oh my God, I've been doing all this. I don't even have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think the outcome can happen a variety of different ways depending on how your brain works, especially as an artistic endeavor. And it's interesting because same thing, my team does things a little differently. Like even when hair painting was first a thing and like I taught them all, they all do it. I mean, somewhat. We're similar. Yeah. We're painting hair with paintbrushes. But everyone's gone off and done their own thing.
Right.
And I recently rehired this girl that actually was my apprentice, like way back when. And I just kept thinking to myself, I need a clone of myself. I need a clone. And I was like, wait, there is one. And so I contacted her. Her name is Grace. She's awesome. And she came back and worked for me at Ash Copper. And I watch her. Even just formulating color blows my damn mind. The colors that she picks, I'm like, I've never used that color.
Yeah, never thought about it. Never would.
I didn't know it was in the swatch book. Like, not a thing in my brain. And I'm like, that's so crazy. Like her work. I mean, she's like surpassed me. Yeah, she's like awesome. So I just like sometimes will watch her and like, yeah, like, that's how you do that. Like it's not how my brain ever would do that. But I got to try it out.
But that's the best part about it is I've had 4 or 5 assistants now that like I see them years later and like what they're picking or what they're doing and it's pretty cool because they are. I mean like I always use I had an assistant, Mallory, and she was relentless in getting in the door, was relentless in being my assistant, and now has been relentless in growing her clientele, her business, and even she became an artist for Pulp Riot, and now she's one of the top 10 artists for them, and has a district which is part of the United States, and now she's the shit. It's when I see her do hair and when I see her working and even like the the formulas that she has. I'm like, well, that's not what I did.
Right.
That's not how I did it, you know?
Like, how did you go off and figure this out without me?
Right. Yeah. So it's incredibly cool to see. And like, it's like I was kind of talking about earlier. It's for me getting to take that back and, you know, learn just as much from, you know, her as well as other artists in the salon. It's become a really cool deal because I give what I can, and then I just keep getting back from all of the younger artists that are hustling hard and like thinking differently and have found the confidence to go outside of just the stuff that I could show them and become themselves, not just an old assistant from Jay, and them really kind of come into their own. And actually recently I've had clients that are like, hey, you know what? It's okay if like Sarah can do my hair. Like Sarah was my last assistant. Rachel's my assistant now. Sarah was my assistant before that. And I when I knew some shit was really happening was when like my clients were like, oh, I'll go to Mallory. That's fine. You're booked. I'll go to Mallory. Yeah. And then they're like, you know, Sarah can blow dry me if you want. Like, that's fine. You can go, Jay. Yeah. Like, and that keeps happening more and more. And it's weird. Right. Because, you know, for however many years, it's like, oh no, you're the only one that can touch my hair. Right. Like, I'm paying for you. And now they're like, you look thirsty. Like, do you wanna go grab some water and like Sarah can finish my hair? Like, that's some really cool shit. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Can I come be your assistant for like 3 days? Yes. And then graduate. Yeah. Yeah, we'll wear our headsets and we should. Your Santa antlers. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm keeping these. These are a staple. You would be welcome in our spot. It's there's a lot of love in there. A lot of talent, a lot of love, zero ego, cool, really cool people. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely need to come check it out. I think that was the biggest thing is like, and I'm sure we'll talk about this all the time, but the culture in the salon, like you said, you found the sweet spot, and it's scary to want to go above and beyond that or anywhere from that, because having a good atmosphere and how easy that is to get wrong, like immediate, just one person or even one client coming in can really mess with that atmosphere. Changes. Yeah. It's a trip. And like, I'm so protective over that. And, you know, anything outside of that it can be frightening because it's so important. Yeah. I mean, that's a day wrecker or a week wrecker. Right. Yeah. Do you sage your salon when butthole clients leave? But we don't butthole clients? Yeah. I heard that in the wrong. Butthole clients. Buttholes. We don't do any butthole services. So we don't either. The Brazilian wax. No, I'm kidding. No, we don't. But we do have there's we got a couple members of the crew that like can really force out the negative energy, whether it's through like sage or like incense or crystal. We got a couple of like salt lamps and stuff like that. Yeah, and I don't know if it's those things that are doing it or if it's just the collective group of people that like push that shit right out the door. It's goodbye. Like you gotta go. Yeah. Like I'll be holding my incense and like so Ben has a crystal and then like Mallory or Sarah has a sage and like we push it right out the door. You've got to. Yeah, dude, you have to. You have to. There's no like there's not a bigger waste of time than like not, you know, having an atmosphere that you're happy doing what you're doing. Right. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Absolutely. Cool. Well, I'm super excited for Supreme Salon, and I'm so glad that we're doing this. We're going to have an episode coming out next month again, maybe a little pop-up here and there at some classes and maybe some things that you're doing. Mm-hmm. So super excited about that. Yeah, we got Am I allowed to say it? We got I'm doing an educational event next month.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to take it there. I mean, the opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
And it's super cool to be a part of this with you. I'm pumped. Supreme Salon's going to be the shit. It already is the shit.
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning. So
good job.
It is our purpose.
Yes.
Not our passion.
Right. You got to send me that article.
I will send you that article. Thank you, Benko, for that article, by the way.
And thank you guys for joining us for episode number 1. If you have any questions or comments, drop them on our YouTube. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us.
You can
anywhere.
find me at the buffet. Yeah. You can find me eating all of Cuisine by Celine's food and hanging out.
Sleep outside of her house now.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next month. You can follow us on Instagram at Supreme Salon. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Keep you posted on everything that's going on through each avenue. And we will see you next time.
Fantastic people on deck. Woo-hoo. Thank you for being a part of this, and we'll see you soon.
Rock on, Jay.
Rock on, Stefanie. I will.